It perhaps goes without saying that art has colossal capacity, can make us feel differently about ourselves from a physical level and also the way that we look at the world. In that very moment that we're engaging with it, we're being asked to dream or feel our way through something new. Welcome to Series 3 of Dream Space with me, Gemma Cairney. Now, we have been doing this for a little while now, and I'm still absolutely in love with it. Dream Space comes from Factory International. I'm a broadcaster, a creator, and an art lover. I've always been fascinated by our capacity to dream. On Dream Space, we've invited some of the leading creative thinkers to free us from the physical world and take us into their dreams and visions across time, space, and species. We've got an amazing series lined up for you, including writer Max Porter, jazz musician Nubia Garcia, and England footballer Lotte Wubben-Moy. But we're starting with someone who is the epitome of a visionary and whose work has asked us to engage with it on a deep level for over 50 years.
You can't become an artist. You have to be born as an artist. I don't believe in this becoming. Forget it. Just go home and do something else.
Marina Abramović is regarded as one of the world's most influential performance artists. Born in Belgrade, Abramović studied as an academic painter before pioneering the use of the body for art, using her own as a canvas. Throughout her career, she has explored the many ways in which the body can be interpreted and the ways in which performance can be defined as art. Abramović's transformative work has reached millions of people, from opening the Pyramid stage at Glastonbury Festival to a residency at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. In 2025, she has created one of her most ambitious shows ever, in Manchester, the Balkan Erotic Epic. Let's get into Marina Abramović's dream space. Where to start with Marina Abramović? Where do your dreams begin and your real life kind of blur into something that is real and far away? Like, do you live in a dream space, Marina?
It's a big question. But let's start from the beginning. We are talking 4 years old, little Marina, going in the forest with my grandmother. I see some strange black thing cross the road. And then I just wanted to touch it. At the moment I want to touch, I heard this huge scream of my grandmother. And then scream really frightened me. And that little thing disappeared. And it was a snake. And I was understand that till that point I didn't have any kind of fear about anything. Only scream of my grandmother actually made me afraid. And I understand, oh my God, there is a danger. But then that moment in my life turned into occurring dreams. So I would dream snakes, I would dream, strange animals in the forest. And my dreams became more and more vivid and more colorful. And some of them repeat, some of them didn't. And then I would sit in the kitchen with my grandmother and tell the dreams. And she would tell me the stories. If you dream the blood, it means you get immediately good news. If you dream dirty water, you get sick in 3 days. If you swim in the clear water, it's all okay. And so on and so on. And there was dreams full of meanings and become a kind of language to me. And then when I was around 10, 11 years old, I started painting. And that was so easy for me. I would go to bed, dream the dream, and in the morning I wake up and I paint this dream. And that was always, very, very easy because there was always new dreams to paint. And at my first exhibition, I was 14 years old. And I was so always jealous of Mozart because he started with 7 and I was so late. But anyway, so then, then I really start painting. The dreams become more complicated. I stop painting dreams. I start doing different things. I start painting clouds. And then from that whole period, around 18, I actually get to the point to perform. But I want to say the dream world is always there for me, because dream world is the source of my inspiration material, and whatever happening during the daytime or traveling, which I do extensively, then they come in the form of different dreams and unexpected. So I could not answer your question when the life start to dream. I think it's the one thing always been.
Are you afraid of that world? Because sometimes, as you say, if there are messages that may be warnings of some sort, or they become nightmares,
Absolutely.
do you get scared?
Yes, there were so many times that I did. I had this strange dream who comes almost on and on off till one point stop. And that dream was that I'm always coming from somewhere very far away, and a suitcase, and I'm dragging suitcase through the little road in the forest, and forest is dark, but on the end of the forest is the beautiful kind of big villa house with lots of light. And as I'm approaching, there's always music and always party. Something is always going on. And I arrive with my suitcase there, and I knew all the people there, and all the people knew me, but they're only ones from the dream. I never met them in real life. And there is party and happiness and all that. And this dream was, happening every time. And then one point, for 3-4 years, I didn't have the dream. And then one day, I had this dream again, and I was going for this same suitcase, same little road. I arrived in the big house, and everybody there was very, very old, and partying, but very old. And then this dream never occurred again. So I was so shocked, because I absolutely didn't know that actually you have age in a dream, that you get old and you can die in a dream.
And do you imbue your dreams into your practice and work? And are us as spectators and audience able to enter your dreams?
The audience see the final result. And that's when I process the dreams, I create the work, I make the content, and I perform in the front of the public. And this comes from so much more thinking. And I always, when I have the idea, I always start very complicated. I put so many elements, and then I deduct, and I just create to the minimum, to absolutely 2 or 3 elements necessary, and everything else not. Before we start this interview, we had the plant behind us, as a decoration. And the first thing I say here in the studio, can we remove this plant? Because this plant is nothing to do with our conversation. So they have to remove the plant. So it's just simple. You, me, no plant.
Well, I'm glad that it's you and me in this conversation, and we are creating this liminal space, because I feel like you are one of the people in the world that makes it accessible for us. I think that you do create a dream space all of the time, and that's been your life's work. Why do you feel an impetus to push us to perhaps an edge, or to try and think differently via the form of art?
But I think it's more important to see why I'm doing what I'm doing. And to me, I think I'm really born as an artist. I can't do anything else. I can't sew a button on my shirt. So all what I know is to do art. And I didn't want to have children. I didn't want to have normal, the family like everybody else. I just to put my entire energy in that thing what I'm doing. And then, it's also coming from my background, which is communist. It was always the kind of my mother and father education, that your life is really not important. It's all poor you, and you have to be comfortable. Which is much more important is what you can give to society, how you can give right message, how you can contribute to the world. And that's what I put all my energy into. So the public became actually my work, and that's what I'm doing. So to create something that actually can have some meaning. And the work went through so many different levels, pushing limits of my body, through the pain and experimenting where are the limits, to the points that I really understand that physical body is easy to conquer, but mind is much more difficult, and emotions. And that start doing very long durational works, which public is a very big part of it. And that's what I've been doing, all the way.
Are you in a dream state when you are doing the endurance side of the work, or are you present?
Of course, I'm always present in the dream or out of dream. But one thing that when I have the idea, I am not interested in the idea that I like. I never it's too easy. If you do always things you like, you repeat yourself over and over again. You're in the same pattern. You never really jump out of that pattern. But when you do things that you're afraid, unknown, goes to territory that you've never been, goes to the places, I love to travel the places there's no Coca-Cola, electricity, somewhere in the world. That's where actually you jump out of your habits, and then when actually the dream world become real, and when you can create, because ideas are just pouring on you. And the more difficult, the more I'm interested.
That makes you unique. I think a lot of people are too afraid to firstly even dream big, let alone take themselves into a dreamlike reality.
But also what I find is fascinating about humans, especially now, we are so afraid of emotions. I mean, young kids, they're so addicted to technology that actually don't even have the emotional relationships with other friends. They don't communicate verbally, they're just sending texts. That kind of stuff, it's such a frightening thing.
You've often cited portals as a way to describe your work and part of your process. In this dream space, are we able to enter a portal that perhaps takes us away from tech, our devices, phones, etc.?
But I have to say that I'm succeeding pretty well with young generation of people. I have kids who are 14 years old and come to me and say, "You changed my world." How I can change the world? The kid is only 14. But this is some beauty in that. I made one show, which, 513 hours in Serpentine Gallery, which I didn't even have any work. Everything was, put people, then they enter the show, they just put in lockers, the computer, the watches, and everything else. They put headphones, to block the sound, and then arrive in empty space. And I had this kid who was 14, and he put the headphones on, and he said, "I don't hear anything." I said, "Of course, it's to block the sound." He never in his life had the experience to block the sound. He was so really genuinely shocked. That was wonderful to see the shock on his face, because everything I put something is to hear something. So he got so enthusiastic that every single day he would bring his friends to listen to silence. I find this a personal achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it wild to you for that to be the profound point at this point in history? If you think about your retrospective and repertoire of work, there's been so many points where the public have been pushed to a space where you've seen perhaps the worst of humanity and the violence within a person, but actually here we are in 2025, topically, geopolitically, there is so much violence time and time again within humans. But actually in the silence that you have created in your work, people return to a sense of self, which is a much safer space.
But just last year, it's not such a long ago, in July, exactly, it was just 1 year exactly now, in Glastonbury, they invite me to Pyramid Stage, and PG Harvey give 2 songs away just to actually give me space to do what I wanted to do. And when everybody said to me, "You're completely crazy. This is not possible. People are here for the rock concerts. They are taking drugs. They are drinking. They are taking mushrooms. They come to enjoy music. You can't ask them to be 7 minutes, not 3, not 5, but 7 minutes is complete silence. That could be absolutely it would be ridiculous." And I came to that stage and I was terrified, but I did it, and it was absolutely complete silence. There was Palestinian flags, there was Israeli flags, there was public ready to protest, the public ready to. But one thing that I said that people really start thinking is that the violence bring more violence, the killing more killing, the hate bring more hate, demonstration more demonstration. But what we have to really have big picture, how to give unconditional love to each other as human beings. Only way to change the world is to change ourselves. And people listened and they did it. And it was a moment in my life. I don't call this performance. I just call intervention. It was a magic moment in my life that I saw 275,000 people. This is, I don't know any artist that can deal with that kind of public. It was electricity through my body. And then Riccardo Tisci, he made this wonderful costume. It was a really beautiful white dress that you see coming on the stage just as a white dress. But slowly when I opened the arms, it was actually a sign of peace, huge symbol of white peace. And that really works. And this is something that I can really do well. To actually give possibility of people to understand bigger picture, because we are killing each other since centuries, and only the names are changing, only the wars of religion or whatever countries are changing, but it's always the same over and over again. And then only the way to forgive is to go forward, and we can't forgive. And why humans can't change? That's really the big question.
I was wondering what you thought about ideology, because again, that's been part of our deluge, let's say, our modern deluge of grappling, like trying to find the right words and language for our identity. Do you believe in anything in particular? Does that matter to you in your dreams and in an ideal world? How do we feel proud of our identity to the point that an artist such as yourself is able to channel peace with 275,000 people? Is that to do with the spirituality that you can put into words, or is it something else?
It's really interesting how spirituality is very bad seen as a use in art context. They immediately kind of label you as a new age and some kind of dismiss. But if you really look the art from centuries, every art has so many different layers of meaning. It's political and social and also spiritual. Really, there's any good really art that matters in this world have to have element of spirituality. It's so important. You have to really show emotions, and you have to feel emotions looking the good work of art. So that we can't deny. But I never want to call myself shaman, guru, or spiritual leader, because I'm artist. So everything I do is in context of art, really. And also the one important thing, to accept every human being on the planet absolutely as they are, because we are same DNA on this little blue planet called Earth. And that's so important. There's no separation, no division. I also doesn't want to be put in any category. I never want to be called feminist. I said so many times, because I think that art doesn't have gender. Art is art. Everybody can do art, any kind of individual or gender. And I don't want to be put in a kind of ghetto. Now this is female artist and male artist. No, it's just one thing. It is important is message which art have to bring, not me as individual.
And do you channel that art? Is it from outside of you or inside of you? It's fascinating.
Very important question, my dear. I saw this, I'm going to answer seriously. I think, and I really believe, in order to create, you have to be empty. It's very contradictory saying that, but you have to completely keep yourself empty in order that the message can come freely into you. So I think there is something called universal knowledge, and we can't get in touch with that universal knowledge, because if we have too much shit inside ourselves, as we do, you have to kind of and bear. I have one work which I really like, the title is called Boat Emptying, Stream Entering. So if you're on the little boat and you have too much suitcases and luggage, you're going to drown. But if you empty the boat and it's just you and boat, then the stream brings you to the shore, to the safety. So I think the knowledge comes from outside, but you have to create a channel to enter.
And are we all artists?
No, absolutely not. You know, Joseph Beuys, this great German artist, he said, everybody can be artist. I don't believe this. It's really, you know, people have different function. There is a great gardener. There is a great the guy who baked the bread. There is a great mother growing the children. There is so many different professions. Artist, you can't become artist. You have to be born as an artist. I don't believe in this becoming. You know, the students come to me, I would like to become an artist. Forget it. Just go home and do something else. And that you have to show from very early age. You have to have this urge, something like a burning desire, something like a high fever temperature that you wake up in the morning and you have to create. It's like a breathing. You don't question breathing. You have to breathe or you die. You have to create. But when you create, it's just okay. It doesn't mean great. You have to do lots of sacrifice in your life in order to actually become really the artist who matter.
I do think in the real world, socioeconomics perhaps represses that urge, that need, that channel that is being described so beautifully by you, because there's this onus that we need to survive, we need to get by, we do need discipline, but it's hardly ever creative. It's about making enough money to live.
Okay, I have lots of answer for that one. This whole thing that artists have to make art and then create really commodity and sell so expensive and make living and all this, I think is big bullshit. Because I don't just believe in that. You know, this very beautiful book that everybody should read from Patti Smith, and it's called Just Kids. Mm-hmm. And this is the time when she lived in Marpeton in the 70s in New York, when nobody had any money. You know, artists was actually making the money by guards in the museums. The dancers was always working in the bars, and the musicians being taxi drivers. And that's the way how they make money. But we are taking from Philip Glass to all of these incredible artists, John Cage, everybody, you know, and they still make great art because the art was not about money. At that time, that even when I started art, I didn't even have idea that I would ever actually make money from this as a living. I was teaching 25 years of my life to actually pay the bills and to make what I'm doing. So that's not the reason. You know, the only thing that I always want to say to young artists, you should have really enough money, better than the plumber job. Because in my time, plumber was better paid than any artist we ever done any work. Till MoMA, I never been paid for performance art. It was always for free, ever. And, you know, because I didn't even think that's a possibility. So that's something that we should wake up and you know, and think this all that we have to make this and that. The worst thing for an artist to find a style and repeat himself because the audience like, and then you actually lose respect. You have to always somehow surprise you. You always to make new work. You always have to be curious like a child every morning when you wake up. And you know, in my case, you never can put me in the box. You know, I make performance art, I make a theater piece, I make an opera. I now doing completely another project in Manchester. You know, I just done Avatar. I'm working with Hans Ulrich on the artificial intelligence. Just everything interests me, and I don't care, you know, what they say. Oh my God, they put me in one box, I jump out of that box. It's important that actually you create.
But do you care about what people say or think, or how the critics take you keeping them on their toes?
Not anymore, my dear. When I was young, the performance was said, it was so terrible. They put me in mental hospital. They think that this thing is ridiculous, it's bullshit, there's no art at all. You know, if I believe in that and not in myself, I will never leave calm. I will not go on the street. And this continue, and it still continue. Now the piece I'm doing, Balkan Erotic Epic, I have a great strategy. I'm going to actually make this work, and because of nudity and because of very, very kind of edgy subject, I'm going to print the book only with negative criticism that I'm going to get, because I know that's going to happen. So just to prove my point. And it's going to be all your life. But you know, when Beethoven made Fifth Symphony, it was the worst piece of music. When Eiffel Tower was built, they said that this struck the beauty of France. It should be destroyed immediately. Anything that is radical, anything that's new and revolutionary, bring always negativity. And this is how it works. Plus, the journalism is very interesting. They like to write war stuff because public read more than anything positive.
I'm thinking about the sonic element of what you described, like being able to find a collective imagination, and your experience with blocking out the noise and channeling and kind of creating space. In the dream world that I'm creating with you right now, what does it sound like? Are we in the serenity of silence?
Silence is not, the dream world is not just silence, it's the chaos, it's the noise, it's everything together, But somehow you have to find, like in the jungle, the right path to get to the silence. But also you have to figure out how you can live your life in synchronicity, how you can reach this point of luminosity when you wake up in the morning and everything is in the right order and everything is in the right kind of balance, and you think of somebody phone you in that particular moment. You go to the in the street and you look in the back and you see your friend just there, and you had talk about this friend in your dream maybe 3 days ago. So that kind of space that actually you can communicate, but to be able to be in that dream reality space, because it's not dream, it's reality too, is really, you have to be in touch with yourself, and that all this will bring you to silence. And silence is kind of ultimate state, really, when everything is perfect. You understand, if you don't think the past which happened and future didn't, your time don't exist.
Synchronicity, I love that. I love that the balance that could be created means that we can be alive for the everyday magic of the person that you long to speak to calls you in that moment, that you can almost summons it. It's a kind of magic, but it can actually happen when we give ourselves a bit of space and time.
Yeah.
And it actually reminds me of what you were saying about the recurring dream that you've had for many, many, many years, which is you walking in the forest and then finding the house full of wonderful people that you want to spend time with, celebrating.
And they're all now gone. Time goes. One thing that we never accept, and we are trying never to think about this, is our mortality. Every human being are born and get old and die. Same with plants, same with animals, same with universe. And it's so hard to accept. And the moment you accept that truth, then every day is a miracle and you live fully every single day. And that's something that we have to learn again.
How important are memories?
I actually don't like memory at all. I don't like that so many people live in the past and they always think, oh, how great was this time and how wonderful was that time. Who cares? Memory is gone. You've done some stuff, just move on. Everything is about now and what is in the front of you, not what is behind you. This is why I never understand why people just stop working, go to pension. It's like, what? You're remembering your past and you're waiting to die? I'm going to work till last breath.
As someone in the real world that does create experience for others, how much do you want them to interpret your vision? And in our dream world where we can be limitless, is it important that they are directed or curated, or is it up to them to work it out and decide?
If you go to exhibition and look the work, just look simple, Mona Lisa, let's take the kind of obvious work. And you have 35 people looking at that painting. And different cultures, Japanese, Taiwanese, Chinese, American, whatever, and ask them what they see. You have 35 interpretations, about the same subject. What I like to do, I create scenario. Let's see one example. This artist is present in MoMA. It's very simple structure. 2 chairs, 1 table. I even remove table later on. So public is asked to sit, and only restrictions they have is they can't touch me, they can't talk to me, but they can sit as much time as they want, and they can do in that period, have the gaze with me, and that's all. So I give them all the rest to their own experience and how they're going to consume that work. And I have incredible reaction, because first they told me nobody going to sit because it's New York, nobody have time. The chair was never empty. We have 1,500 people sitting any amount of time. The longest was 7 hours, anything to 5 minutes, 10 minutes and rest. And the people come, wait for a long time in the line. They wait to sleep in the front of the museum. They come to have this experience. And then after that experience, they can do whatever they want in their own jobs. We had people who came to sit more than 12 times with me and create a club. And they met every actually month once, just to share the experience about how they influenced it and changed their life. I have 86 guards of the museum who normally guard the art, who went in the weekends, change the uniform, come back, wait in the line to sit with me to have that experience. And I think what I give to people, I give them frame, but the experience is absolutely their own. And I'm not influencing it in any way.
Mm-hmm. In a dream world, do we all have that energy to perhaps not be artists, but at least ingest it, consume it, be around it, be refreshed by it? I feel like this is an opportunity to ask an audience to really remember how amazing and important being amongst art can be.
But also I think that it's important how your life is. If your life is boring and you do many compromises and you don't find yourself and you do job you don't like, you're with a husband or lover you don't love anymore, all of this stuff makes you so miserable and down, and your dreams are gray and uneventful. So you have to have exciting life. You have to wake up in the morning and just, do something new every day, or go to places you've never been, or go take the train ticket without destination, come to the new place and see what will happen. If nothing is happening, create something to happen.
Is art a language that is universal in the dream world?
Yes. Art is language, but you have to learn some codes. Same way when you just, get new computer, you definitely have to learn the language to use computer. You have to understand how to look painting, sculpture, and also how to look performance. For me, I create entire Abramović method. If you look something which is long durational, let's say performance with 8 hours a day for 2 or 3 months, what is your attitude? You come to the space and nothing is happening. You get bored in 5 minutes and you leave, or you learn the language, the way to see how you can actually look into that. Nothing happened, and many things are happening. Where is your breathing? Where is your position of your body? How you see the light moving to the space? Just tiny little things. You go from macro into microcosmic language of performance. And that one thing that I think for an artist is very important, educational part. We have to be able, on any level of people and knowledge about art, to be able to explain. The person who cleaned the streets to the president of the country. I think the ego we have to take away from us. Ego is a huge obstacle for an artist, because when you think you're important, then you're really nowhere. That take creativity away. You have to just remove your ego from the work. Work is what is important, not you.
But how can you do that? How do you do it?
I don't know. I do easily. I can talk about my work to everybody. I don't have this ego that I'm anything. We're just the dust in the universe. Come on. I love the Woody Allen. He said, "Today I'm a star, tomorrow I'm a black hole." Perfect. The whole idea of how you call the stars, and then you kind of create this kind of super glorious image that actually don't correspond to reality at all. In my case, to me, my secret is that I never lie and I tell the truth. And they never can find any dirt thing about me, because I already told them myself. And that's very important. I made the book, Walking Through the Walls. And there I dedicate to friends and enemies, because so many friends say, how you can tell this stuff? I say, but this is the truth. He said, but you don't tell this in the book. Then they become enemies. And the enemies look how honest I am and say, wow, then they become friends.
Wow. Do you think that art is a portal to eliminate or transmute shame then? Like that we can get rid of ego, but also that even the heavier connotations like the guilt and the shame just through an honesty.
But it's interesting how easy what your job is, as a human being, to put to everybody else. No art is going to solve for you, or politician is going to solve for you, or whatever is not. Always is somebody else's guilt that what shit we are right now. Art can't solve everything, can show the way, can ask the right questions, but still, it's very important your own experience. If you read the best book possible that change everything, you read the book, you close the page, and you are the same. Because you didn't make the journey of the person in the book. You have to make the journey.
But at the same time, do you feel like if we do that work, that we can find ways to fuse one's skills, gifts, talent, thoughts into some kind of egalitarian collaboration?
But look just what the miracle we made with the COVID. We have to go to the really terrible life and death experience in order that actually figure out that we can have less pollution everywhere in the world, with the cars, with everything. And then the soon COVID is gone, everything went back same, even worse. That's the thing, we never learn anything from the past. We never learn from and not look into big picture. That's the point. And somehow history is repeating, mistakes are repeating, everything is repeating. It's just nothing is changing. That's somehow Sisyphus work. You go somewhere and you just almost to push the stone to the top of the mountain, and then you go back in the same place you was. It's, but artists should never give up the hope. Humans should never give up the hope. And humor. We forgot about humor. Humor is so important, but not just humor about others, but also humor about yourself.
Yes. So do you laugh at yourself?
No, I laugh a lot, and all my friends think that I'm taking the worst, inappropriate, dirty political jokes that I'm so restricted because they're constantly being criticized to anything. So I only, difficult.
So does our dream world have that ephemeral, giggly nature to it? Like, how important is it to have mischief in your life?
But you have the dreams and you wake up and you're laughing. You must have, everybody have pretty wonderful dreams, and you maybe forget the reason what you're in the dream, but that feeling that, of relaxation and joy, it's very, very important, joy. We have, every day is a miracle. We have to live every day fully, because you never know. That is not something that can be predictable.
Everything does feel very serious, though. Like, it really does. And I think sometimes art as well gets so lumped into that seriousness.
I know.
But perhaps it's not the purity of the work. It's everything outside of it. It's all of the structure.
Not really true. Joy is incredibly important. Also, that just the idea that things can finish so fast, and why human beings have to only have some tragedy in their life in order to change. Without tragedy, we don't change. We have to have terminal cancer, some terrible accident in the family, somebody you lost. Then you change. And before that, nothing happened.
Is there anything in the natural world that can guide us to this change that you describe?
I love really great example of giraffes. I love giraffes because they're such interesting. They really look incredible. So for centuries, giraffe like to eat only from one particular plant, the little leaves, and only when they're young. And then she eat the leaves, and the tree just die. So in order for centuries, that little tree protect themselves from the giraffes, they developed thorns. How you call it? The thorns. And then the leaf is in the middle, and then the two thorns goes like this, so the giraffe can't catch.
Yeah.
Centuries, there was one way. Centuries, giraffe developed how to get to this little plant by creating split tongue. And then the one, you see, how works in nature.
Evolution.
But I like this incredible example, endurance, duration, so she can eat these little leaves.
I love that.
It's not too much, so the tree is still alive, but they have the way how to get it. Split tongue and thorns.
People are living a lot longer than they used to, Marina. Would you like to be still doing what you do in your 200s?
Oh my God, absolutely yes. So first of all, I am now next year 80, and I just have replacement of my knee, and I have brand titanium knee, which create lots of sound when I go through the controls in airport.
Yeah.
And knee is getting better and better. I probably do another one, and this was not possible a long time ago. And using technology, why not? But I love old age. I love old age will give you wisdom that I didn't have when I was young. I was too emotional and too stupid. And I'm so happy now because I really enjoy life much more. And, I have a problem with the knee, fix the knee. High blood pressure, get the pill. So all works.
I love
Not 200, but one grandmother was 103, 108. I think 110 would be a nice idea. And also, the female artists get much more respectful after 100. Nobody succeeds 100. Georgia O'Keeffe died 90-something. Louis Bourgeois died also 90-something. Nobody reached 100. And only few artists now, they reach 100. There are some really wonderful artists, the painters in America. All of them get huge perspectives because after you're 100, finally they pay attention to these people. They never did before. So 100 is like a good, after 100, they take you seriously.
I feel like we're taking you seriously.
Yeah, it's not bad, but can be better.
Okay, I hear you. I can't wait for your 200s. I feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah, why not? I feel pretty good.
As someone who just turned 40 this year, it's music to my heart.
Oh my God. I'm celebrating 80. I want to have really red carpet. And on the back of me is going to be written, 80 is new 40.
Yes. Yes.
And 40 is new 20, so you don't need to worry.
Fantastic news.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the elimination of the ego. Is there something else? Are there other components of a human in this modern world that we could also let go of in this dream world?
First, in dream world, ego don't exist. You're egoless. And the second thing, this whole thing that actually your happiness can be satisfied if you have money. That's such a wrong concept, And I was so shocked coming, from Europe to America, and, they're talking about people, and they say, oh my God, this guy worth, I don't know, 10 billion. Now, if you're a million, you're poor in this country. So there are 10 billion, the other one is 120 billion. It's just the idea that human life actually can be measured by money amount they have is to me unthinkable. And just this whole idea that the power and the money is the way to happiness. And you have so many examples of people who have power and have the money, and they're really fucked up, and they really are not happy, and they're just opposite. Because we have to see where really happiness comes from. Happiness comes from inside of you, from deep satisfaction, that understanding who really you are. And it's nothing to do with ego.
I know you don't like labels, but I'm interested in you. You seem to me to be the matriarch. I don't know whether it's to do with age. I don't know whether it's to do with the fact that you are an educator. But how does that sit with you when I say that?
I think that actually, in a way, that the people project on me this kind of stardom and didn't before. But now, I just really, especially in some countries, I hardly can walk on the street and, they come to me. And, before it never happened. I mean, I really was nobody, but now it's this huge attention on me. And I think that one thing that gives me responsibility much more, but also, the kind of space to my voice could be heard, which I take seriously, especially for young generation, and that's only one thing that I see as a quality. And the rest is the wrong reason. I mean, I can't, to me, one of the most unbelievable, the function of this new society is influencers. I don't understand what the people are doing. I don't understand, what it means being influencer, what it means, what you're influencing, what is I always look into really content. Give me some content, then I talk about the work.
As a performance artist, a lot of your work is not something that can ever be recreated. It exists in the moment. Is this true of your dream space or world? How do we carry forward the things that we've experienced within it into our everyday lives?
First of all, there was interesting division between theater and performance when I was young. I absolutely disregarded theater space because there was fake situation. You're repeating yourself. You're playing the role that you're not you. The blood is ketchup and not real, and the knife is not real. This was all when I was young and angry. But then I become very, very comfortable in my performance. So I get into the theater, and I remember with Willem Dafoe working with him on Bob Wilson work, and later on with my opera Seven Deaths of Maria Callas, that actually through him I learned that's not true at all, that actually you can enter in your character and become one with the character and become real, and that reality public can feel if you really get into that kind of space. So things are very relative. Same with dream space. You're presenting them something coming as inspiration from your dream space, but it's all again the public. I don't responsible for the public. Public have to complete the work. I give them format, I give them the structure, and all the rest is up to them. I mean, Marcel Duchamp said really important, always the same: never finish the work, leave the public the space to complete.
I'm sure you'll be able to tell, but I just thoroughly enjoyed being in the presence and having the honour of hearing Marina talk about her relationship to art and living. It felt very much during the conversation that actually it's kind of mad or counterintuitive to even ask Marina Abramović what her dream space is, as this is a human who's been around for a long time, creating dream spaces for many of us, as in the public, for a long time. And what a rarity that is. Her commitment, her dedication, despite risky and the way she described her career being so long, and her passion and endurance for being an artist was as fascinating as being in her company. But she is the dream space. Her process seems to be the essence of what this podcast is, which is why it has been flipped in this episode to the arc. It's something bigger than the dream space in its usual guise. We created the dream world with, for want of a better title, the matriarch of dream spaces, Marina Abramović. What a privilege. I'm Gemma Cairney. Thank you for listening. Join us again next time for a wander through another artist's dream space. If you enjoyed or got something out of this podcast, whether it was inspiring, it made you laugh, whether it kept you entertained, whatever it was, please make sure to like and subscribe and listen to all of the different episodes that there are available. Even if you don't know the name of the person that I'm interviewing, I can guarantee you that the dream space will always take you down a different direction of what might be expected of a day. Dream Space was hosted by me, Gemma Cairney, and this episode was produced by Emily Dix. with sound design by Solomon King and music by Andrew P.M. Hunt. The executive producer is Dan Jackson, and this is a reduced listening production for Factory International, curated by Scott Simoniti and Alex Mannion Jones.